Bartholomew Town.
Are you looking to advance in your career or explore a new field? The University of Rhode Island now offers a comprehensive portfolio of fully online programs designed to bring world-class education to you anytime, anywhere. Choose from a wide range of flexible, asynchronous programs in business and leadership, data, tech and STEM, healthcare and pharmacy, marine and environmental science, and more. With expert faculty and innovative courses, you'll gain the skills and knowledge to thrive in today's competitive world. Are you ready to take the next step? Visit uri.edu/online and discover how URI Online can help you achieve your goals. URI Online, learn anywhere with us. Well, it's hardly breaking news that we have a housing crisis here in Rhode Island, really across the country, but particularly in Rhode Island, where we have the second highest population density. And there's a lot of reasons for this. We've gone through them ad nauseum in detail in a special series that we've done. Look, we could spend 30, 40, 50, 120 minutes just breaking down specifics as to why we have a housing crisis. But really at the top of the list, or towards the top of the list at minimum, is the behavior, the attitudes, and the actions of municipalities. And we've seen this play out in different ways in the short-term rental space, in the college student rental space, in the characteristic of a rural town argument that happens from time to time, where people say, well, we don't want to build in a certain area because it's going to disrupt those characteristics that make this locale desirable to begin with. I mean, there's an endless array of these types of discussions. But let me tell you, nowhere, and this actually may not just apply to Rhode Island, the statement I'm about to make, this may be a national and global level of conversation and utter stupidity and beyond when it comes to the town of Johnston and Mayor Joe Polisena Jr. and their recent and really leading up to this moment overall actions on the development of an affordable housing project in that town. Now, you may remember late last year, it was actually a pretty shocking commentary made by a member of the Johnston Planning Board, Robert Pignatore, and he was commenting on what was a proposed affordable housing site to be developed in the town of Johnston. And there was this sort of sub rosa level of racism, classism, hey, not in our backyard type of stuff happening. And then rising beyond the sub rosa level to actually vocalizing it was this Pignatore. Remember when he said this?
This project is the future Chad Brown of Johnston.
So he tries to backtrack it. Polisena Jr. gets involved a little bit. They try to downplay this thing. And really, at the end of the day, it's clear. I mean, folks, if you're listening right now, you should be well aware that the town of Johnston has absolutely no interest in adhering to any sort of state laws when it comes to housing and affordable housing numbers, when it comes to some sort of collective effort towards addressing the housing crisis here in the state, when it comes to super serving their own population of citizens, when it comes to, really honestly building out the city beyond what it is right now, in terms of ideas, in terms of new people. I mean, they just want to stay stuck in this static mode of yesteryear that really is right in line with Make America Great Again. And that's exactly what we see playing out. So now you've got, fast forward a couple of months, the story kind of disappears from the news cycle. I hadn't particularly been paying attention to it at all. And then all of a sudden, yesterday, we get a press release from the town of Johnston, from Mayor Joseph Polisena Jr. Remember, he's the son of the longtime Mayor Joe Polisena. So he kind of waltzes right in there. And look, we've had plenty of time to talk about Polisena Jr. I call him Polisena Jr. Varsity on a number of occasions. Remember the Columbus statue, and they moved the Columbus statue to Johnston, the one that was out actually kind of in front of my building here in Elmwood. I mean, he's a former McKee employee inside the State House. They had a falling out. I mean, the whole thing is just kind of an embarrassing soap opera of nothingness. If you literally have nothing to do with your life, you pay attention to the dynamics between, someone like Joe Polisena and the administration, right? But it actually is important because I think it factors into this Polisena approach to, hey, we're going to buck the system. We're going to buck McKee and what he wants. We're now going to get in the way of Speaker Shekarchi and likely soon to be gubernatorial candidate Shekarchi and his efforts to roll out new and innovative and hopefully effective possible resolutions or advancement of the cause when it comes to the housing crisis. So Polisena, they put out this statement yesterday. And in sum, here's what they're going to do. Polisena says he's going to request from the town council tonight, a day later, and it looks like the town council is going to go for it, that declares eminent domain on that parcel of land that was slated to be an affordable housing project. And here's what he writes in this press release. And he tries to spin this as this is a courageous move and this is something that's going to better serve the town of Johnston. But in fact, what it is, well, let me read you the press release and then I'll tell you what it is. So Polisena writes yesterday, Junior, our police officers and firefighters have endured unsafe and inadequate working conditions for far too long. Firefighters are dealing with the absence of a fire alarm system, a leaking roof, a flooding dispatch room, and no female bathrooms or showers. Their living quarters are dangerously exposed to toxic fumes from the apparatus room, posing serious health and safety risks. Similarly, the police station faces numerous challenges: an outdated electrical system, no toilet in the locker room, no hot water, and working in closets rather than offices. Additionally, the basement floods during rain events, affecting the Sally Port, cell block, locker rooms, and electrical systems. Our town hall presents a problem as well. Constructed when just 9,000 people lived in Johnston, which they are now up to about 30,000, there is no handicapped accessibility. Senior citizens struggle with the narrow stairs. There are holes in the roof. The HVAC system does not work, and there are now only 8 public parking spaces. Today, I'm announcing my intent to take all 31 acres of land on George Waterman Road, the site of the proposed 252 low-income housing apartment complex, by eminent domain. In this location, the town will construct a public safety municipal complex consisting of a new fire headquarters, police station, and municipal hall. The Johnston Town Council will hold a special meeting on Tuesday, January 28th at 5:30 p.m. at Johnston Municipal Court to discuss and vote on this resolution, Resolution 2025-10, authorizing the eminent domain taking of Assessor's Plat 37, Lot 193. Residents are encouraged to attend if you can get out of work early and you can make plans with less than 24 hours notice and you can get there. And by the way, you would think that this thing would actually be something that would be not only a residential issue, it's something that on a statewide basis, given that we're a city state, this would be a call to action to a whole heck of a lot more than just residents of Johnston. Anyway, back to the press release wrapping up. To fund this project, we're going to go back to our original intention of renovating the high school with an emphasis on creating new career and technical trade programs and saving tens of millions of dollars coupled with our $40 million cash reserves. We're using our financial prudence to continue to upgrade our town infrastructure, which impacts all residents. Make America great again. Am I right? That is you got to give it to him. It's a clever instrument for Polisena. I don't know if he came up with it or somebody said, hey, you know what you can do to get this housing project off your radar screen? Take the land. It's been done for centuries upon centuries. Just think about it. Go back to any sort of colonial type of mindset. Go back to any sort of conquistador level thinking. We've already done it before with the taking of this land right here from indigenous folks. Just do it. Just take the land. And then they're going to, instead of building a new school, they're going to renovate the school that they have currently constructed. I don't know if you've seen the renderings of what the proposed Johnston High School would look like. It was beautiful renderings. They're going to emphasize career and tech because that's hey, look, we need more people working in the trades. At the same time, you ever talk to your friends who are 42 years old who have worked in the trades? And let me ask you something. For everybody, whether it's Remendo or anybody else that goes on and on about, well, we got to steer people towards the trades. Would you want your kids working in the trades, or would you rather them go to college? It's nothing against the trades. I grew up in a trade family. But that's a little bit MAGA as well, just in its intent. But here's the thing, folks. Everybody knows what this is. This is some classist, racist garbage from a MAGA mayor. A miniature MAGA mayor. And for Polisena, this is probably the most shameful thing that he's done yet. Hey, you know what? The hell with that. Stay the hell out of Johnston. That's my advice. I mean, I barely go there anyway, but boy, stay out of there. And for the residents who are going to be theoretically in a futures type of context displaced, you know what? Maybe you're better off. We'll find somewhere. It's going to take time. 272 units. I mean, to get that kind of number online elsewhere, I mean, it's not like you could just flip a switch and do that. It's going to be a challenge. But you know what? Maybe you're better off. I mean, that's the mindset there. They're putting up Columbus statues. They're pulling off this kind of racist nonsense with this Pignatore telling you it's going to be. I mean, what an outrageous comment back in December. I mean, that guy should have resigned on the spot. That's a disgrace. But that's also the doctrine, the Polisena doctrine, when it comes to Johnston. A little smirk on your face. And then you go on the conservative media and you tout how great you are, and you get people rah-rahing behind you. No doubt there are going to be people who think that, boy, I mean, what an idea here by the mayor or whoever fed it to him. Because again, I barely know the kid. I've talked to him interviewed him a couple of times, not even on a podcast setting. I've just bumped, gaggles on the street after a Columbus statue. I remember asking him questions there. But now here's a signal to other mayors or other municipal authorities. You got a project coming to town that looks like it's going to be controversial in your mind. Controversial, AKA, that's code for, people of less means than maybe you are coming to your area, coming to your town. Declare eminent domain and build a new police station or something there, or not even. I mean, just keep it, call it a ball field. I mean, you can do whatever you like. So you've got the roadmaps that are being put forth in terms of ways to solve or at least advance the ball on the housing crisis, and that's coming from the think tank sector. That's coming from leaders who actually know what the hell they're talking about, be it Representative June Speakman or Leader Shikarchi, wake up, Speaker Shikarchi, whatever. And then all of a sudden, you've got this sort of dynamic where out in Johnston, take Route 6, and all of a sudden, I mean, you may as well, you start to hear Dixie playing. I mean, what a disgrace and what a shameless maneuver on the part of a mayor who clearly, I mean, look, everybody knows in Rhode Island, you get these people, they call themselves Democrats. This guy's no Democrat. This guy's not even a real Republican. This guy's MAGA. And some of you I hear that and say, yeah, that's why we love him. And by the way, you guys lost. Here's the thing. The stupidity of something like this is exactly why our country, our world is in the situation that it is. All right? When you talk about MAGA, and when you talk about whether it's MAGA, Sanders, other types of populist movements that in theory are populist, right? What is the fundamental tenet there? What is it that drives that urge to swing a certain way in terms of who you vote for, to swing a certain way in terms of what you want to see as priorities? It's that you feel, and by the way, correctly so, left behind by a broken system. Folks, we are at the end stages of capitalism. We have entered into oligarchy. That's clear as day. That's not controversial anymore. It was maybe during Occupy Wall Street because there were still people that said, no, I'm going to live this dream. Folks, we are seeing a decline happen in front of us. And the battle lines, if you want to call them that, the front lines that are actually relevant to you and me for the most part. Maybe there's a handful of people hearing my voice right now that they're on the other side. They're on the flip side. They're more on that sort of top-end oligarch class. Again, doesn't mean you're purely bad because of that. It's just the consolidation of wealth and power is so extreme, right? And so the actual battle cry for what MAGA meant, I think anyway, to a lot of people, and what made it successful as a broad coalition that was electable across the board, right? Not just the presidency, was this notion of economic populism. Yeah, sure, there's the good old days conversation, and there's no doubt that there's, classist, racist, xenophobic tendencies built into this, sure. But there's a lot of people out there that really just believe that Donald Trump's message and the program that MAGA brings to the table is going to super serve them, and it's going to super serve everybody who's hurting because this system has left them behind. That's the thing that actually, when people say, hey, we won, MAGA won, yeah, that's what you won on. Yeah, again, other programs and things like that as well. I'm sure there's people that are thrilled about the ICE raids happening right now, whether it's Jessica De La Cruz. There's another bright spot in our state. De La Cruz advocating for ICE to raid Providence. Then she announces she's going to have her own fundraiser in Providence a couple of days later. So is Providence scary and filled with criminals or not? But with Polisena, the stupidity here is that you are now doing exactly what the actual Trump playbook calls for. Consolidation of power, beef up aspects of the police state, and squash poor people and disadvantaged people and marginalized people with your boot. In his case, a tiny boot. The town of Johnston is operating right now in an anti-populist way. Now, sure, there's some residents who probably either they're uninformed or they just don't have a good take on what this theoretical, hypothetical, now seemingly doomed affordable housing project would bring. They hear it just like that Pignatore. It's going to be this project's going to be the Chad Brown of Johnston in 20 years. The Chad Brown of Johnston in 20 years. So you get this sort of stupidity and ignorance that happens, and that happens everywhere. That happens in every town. That happens in every family. That happens in every human. I'm capable of it. We're all capable of it. Don't tell me you're not. In terms of reacting to something that you really don't fully understand, right? But the boogeyman idea that the town of Johnston is going to be, they're going to suffer if you have 272 affordable housing units. Again, lowest common denominator type thinking. And it's an embarrassment. And this town council is going to put it through tonight, and they're going to declare eminent domain, and they're going to take that property, and they're going to build that new municipal facility, and we're not going to have what? We're not going to have housing, 272 units, whatever those units can occupy. Let's call it about 400 people that would have new housing. They're going to be out of luck. You're not going to have a new school for the Panthers. You're going to renovate the old school and put more career and tech stuff. I'm a huge proponent of career and tech. I think it's amazing. But that's also, like I said, don't sit here and tell me that you think that the elites that are controlling this whole playbook, they're all about their kid becoming a plumber or electrician. I think it's an admirable trade. Believe me, again, I come from that background. But these same people, they just want people to clean up and fix their stuff because they don't want to do it themselves. So you're going to not have a new school. You're going to get a new police and fire station. Good. I mean, the firefighter, they deserve that. We deserve to have good municipal facilities, but we can eat or we can walk and chew gum at the same time here, folks. The reality is what this is, and he'll go on. I didn't listen. He was on with Gene Valicenti this morning. I haven't listened to it yet. I don't think I will. I mean, I'm probably going to have to before the radio this afternoon. But he'll go on. And he'll make it seem like, this is what we need. This better serves all of our residents. But you know what this is. Come on, man. He knows what this is. Hey, Joe, you know what this is. We see you. We know what you're doing. We're not stupid. You know what? You're not stupid either, I guess, because you figured out a mechanic to thwart this project. But it's bad, it's ugly, and it plays into exactly the same theme, exactly the same energy, exactly the same practices that are wiping out opportunity across this country. And if that's the world you want to see, then and many people obviously do, then they can build it. And the rest of us are going to have to figure out how to organize and how to reinvent the wheel when it comes to getting in a democracy setting, in a private sector setting, in an arts space setting, whatever it is, getting people aligned on the notion of, hey, it's us versus them. And now, Joe Polisena Jr., I don't know how much he's worth. Who knows? I mean, something tells me that, he's not exactly Elon Musk Jr. Good. But, come on, man. Your own brethren and sisterhood. We're in this together, right? What are you doing, dude? Whose side are you on? Why are you doing this? Why are you betraying us? This is a betrayal. You are licking the boots of the oligarchs that are, as soon as you complete licking, they're going to kick you in the teeth and stomp on your head. What an idiot. And this hurts people. I mean, my God, right now we are in such a free fall. I'm losing my mind at times here, folks. I don't even know what to say anymore, which is a dangerous thing for a podcaster, especially if I'm doing it in monologue. I mean, I was mentally prepared for a lot more of this kind of stuff to happen, like this housing maneuver. Or ICE raids that we're seeing, and people like Jessica De La Cruz, thinking whose fledgling congressional bid, for what? She had a cup of coffee as a congressional candidate. Remember that? She was ran for Congress. She was trying to primary Alan Fung, and then she's up there. She's got some guy with a hat that says "I identify as non-binary" on the rostrum or podium, whatever it is, in some Italian restaurant as she's trying to announce her campaign. I'm asking, hey, what's up with the hat? And she had no idea how to answer that. You know why? Because she's playing into, it's like playing dress and dazzle when you're a little kid. Let's go put on the Trump costume and let's pretend, let's imagine that we're important and we're a part of the Trump movement. Guys, you're not. They hate you. They are using you. They are using all of you. You want to make an argument for conservative ideals? Do it. You want to make an argument on social and certainly, absolutely on fiscal grounds? Let's talk about it all day, every day, and have those discussions. And you know what? Maybe everybody's going to learn a little bit and we'll figure out how to operate things a little bit better. I mean, I personally don't think I would ever cave on any of their social ideas, but, let's hear what's going on. Maybe we can find... There's got to be some way forward on some of this stuff, right? But on the big picture stuff, Joe Polisena Jr., I mean, you kidding me? Here comes this kid, the Nepo baby. He runs for office, nobody had a clue who he was probably. More than half the voters probably just like, oh, it's Joe Polisena, the guy who's been there for a million years. Let's vote him in, I guess, whatever. Most people couldn't care less. So he gets in there. And now he goes and pulls this stunt. And this is an all-timer. I mean, this is something that, this is going to be a playbook. You know what? The one thing is Trump might hear this, and he'll be like, it's very interesting. That's very interesting. You declare eminent domain. You find some money in the coffers. You suspend other projects like in education or social services. And then you advance the police state and detract from helping the poorest people and the most vulnerable people and the people of the state as a whole who collectively are struggling. And by the way, for all the people who are doing good work on housing in this state, you know what? This is a gigantic double middle finger to you, because 272 units is a lot. That's a lot to take off the board. So if you're looking at this thing from a macro standpoint, not just from a Johnston standpoint, this is a kick in the teeth. And you can thank Joe Polisena Jr. for it. And whatever buddies he's got around, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know where this came from. He may have, I can picture him wearing, like, sleeping in his MAGA hat. In his little Johnston. I don't know where he lives in Johnston. He's asleep. He's got MAGA pajamas on. He's got a MAGA mug with a warm glass of milk next to him and a MAGA hat on. Maybe he's got, the Trump, what do you call it? The Truth Social open on his phone as he passes out. He's like so exhausted from doing all the MAGA stuff all day and being the MAGA mayor and trying to live up to his daddy and all that. So he falls asleep. The phone falls out of his hand. Truth Social's open. He's got a MAGA hat on. He's wearing the pajamas. And then maybe he had a dream. Maybe like the ghost of Donald Trump or whatever, the dream version of Trump came to him. Or maybe it was Bobby Kennedy in the dream. And they're just like, eminent domain. Keep the poor people out of Johnston. Keep them out. Declare eminent domain. And he woke up and he was like, whoa, let me call my dad and see if, like, he thinks this is, like, a good idea. Like, if this, like, actually is, like, something that would be good. And how can we, like, get this thing even more MAGA? Oh, let's, like, cancel, like, school development projects. And instead of building a new high school, let's, the police department, they don't have, I guess it floods down the basement a little bit. So, let's use that. Everybody, now we got back to blue. We got anti-poor people, anti-public education, and tyrannical type of nonsense, micro nonsense from a micro mayor that it's just perfect recipe. Maybe I'll get invited to go to the White House. Maybe Jessica De La Cruz and I can fly down there together sometime. And boom, then we can tell them it's a bipartisan thing because I'm a Democrat. It's a joke. Makes you sick. Makes you sick. Makes me sick. I'm losing it. I'm losing it, man. I'm just... what sucks so much about this stuff is that, you see the good people doing the work. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily talking about in elected world. I'm talking about in... think tanks, and I'm not talking about Washington think tanks. That's a bad word too, because people, the connotation is something that it's not. But there are people who are in industry of addressing housing, addressing transit problems, addressing food insecurity, addressing public education opportunities and infrastructure, and how can we actually better this state, right? And they work so hard. And they bring people together. And not everybody always agrees on the right path forward, but they work to find some concrete resolution, right? And all it takes is one MAGA guy to have his dad have the same name as him, his dad being the mayor forever, for a million years. He runs for mayor. He gets in there. He's moving Columbus statues in. And now he's doing this again. This is the playbook that you're going to see across this country for at least the next 2 years. So buckle up. When I said that I thought Donald Trump was going to win the election back in the summertime, I think it was August that I first declared it. One of my biggest fears was the empowerment of this notion by MAGA disciples in government and in sort of the exo-governmental influencer space that they were just going to be more bold about their actions. And this is an example of that. Now, I don't know if Joe Biden or Vice President Harris won, or, anybody else won, if this would still, if Polisena would still do this. I probably would. I mean, I don't think it's exactly correlated. But I think this is a moment where the Trump executive orders and the whole doctrine that's being put forth, the ready, aim, fire, go, boom, gates are open. We're in. We're going, man. We're doing it. We're MAGA, 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 MAGA right now. That sort of mindset has been a signal to others to do the same thing across this country. To say, forget the conventional way of doing things. Forget about the collective mindset. We can spin this as being about the collective. We can spin this as about being law and order or something like that. But we all know what it is. And so, my last thing I'll say, Joe Polisena Jr. Hey, man. Tonight, when you go to that town council meeting, when you're in your car and you're driving over there, I just want you to think about the people you're hurting here. Because you seem to only be thinking about the people who are going to benefit from this, whether it be in a construction economic sense or the perception that you're going to preserve some characteristic of your town. And I just want you to think about the people you're going to hurt. And even if you move forward with proposing eminent domain and you get it from the town council, just have a little bit of that in your heart. Just have a little bit of it, like getting you in your jaw and like where your tongue and the back of your throat kind of meet. Just feel that a little bit in there. Just think about the people you're hurting, because you're hurting people when you do this. And it's sad. Talk to you later this week.